Heredity and evolution.
Hello children, how are you? Have you all completed all the work related to the last chapter? Okay, please see that you draw the diagram very clearly. When I went through the notebook, the mistake what I saw in most of the notebook was the labeling was not done properly. It's better you use pencil for labeling the diagrams. The new chapter which we are going to learn today is Heredity and Evolution. So in this chapter, only the first half of the chapter, that is Heredity, is there for your exam. The second half of the chapter, that is Evolution, has been deleted from the portion from the syllabus temporarily. Same way, you would also have known that the second chapter which we had already completed, that is Control and Coordination, that is also deleted for time being. But you are supposed to know the content. Since we have already completed, there is no problem with that. So today, we are going to learn a new chapter, that is Heredity and Evolution. In the last chapter, we have learned that reproduction helps in giving rise to new individuals. These new individuals that are produced through reproduction shows many variations. Hair color, eye color, complexion, height are some of the variations that you see in the offspring. When we compare the two types of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, we can see more variations. It is because that gametes that are formed by the two parents, that is the male gamete and the female gamete, are involved in producing an offspring. Male gamete and female gamete fuses and results in the formation of zygote, which gradually develops into an organism. Since there is a combination of these chromosomes coming from two parents, variations are more in the offspring. In each generation, variations are different. Here in this chapter, we will be learning how characters are inherited. You have already learned that characters are inherited through segments of DNA, which is called as genes. Baker Johann Menten is the father of genetics. What is genetics? Genetics is the branch of science which deals with the study of heredity and variation. It is a branch of biology. In the science, biology is the part which is dealt with the living organisms. So genetics is the branch of biology which deals with heredity and variation. Johann Menten was a scientist who discovered the principles of inheritance by conducting experiments in the garden pea plants. He studied the inheritance of 7 contrasting traits in garden pea plants. He selected pea plants for his experiments because it was annual. Pea plants are annuals. The results can be seen easily within a short period of time. And other reason was there were many variations in the same pea plant. Some of them were tall, some of them were short. Some of them produced white color flowers, some of them produced violet color flowers. Likewise, there were almost 7 variations seen in the same pea plant. So by conducting experiments in the pea plants, he put forward 3 laws. Law of dominance, law of segregation, and third, law of independent assortment. So in this chapter, we will be learning the 3 laws put forward by Menten with the help of the experiments conducted in pea plants. Before going to the main content of the chapter, let us first learn the new terms. Few new terms are there in this chapter which you have not learned previously. So first we learn those terms through few slides. After that, if there is time, we will go to the experiments conducted by Menten and the laws put forward by him. If not, we will be discussing about the laws put forward by him in the next class.
Heredity and evolution. Heredity. The transmission of traits from parents to offsprings is called heredity. Then what is evolution? It is the process by which new types of living organisms are developed from the pre-existing types by accumulating genetic differences in geological time. That means in each generation, variations will occur, especially during sexual reproduction. So these the variations that occur will accumulate in a long period of time and give rise to new organism. That is called as evolution. Let us now discuss some of the important terms coming in this chapter. The first one, variations. The differences in traits among the individuals of a species is called variations. The different types of variations are hereditary variation and environmental variations. Second, continuous variation and discontinuous variation. Let us now see what is hereditary and environmental variations. The differences inherited by the progeny from their parents are called hereditary variations. For example, blood type, skin color, hair color, eye color, height, etc. are some of the examples of heritable variations. A particular environment of an individual also influences the external appearances or characteristics of an individual or of that individual. These characteristics are called environmental variations. Such variations are caused by differences in light, water, soil, nutrients, and other factors in the environment. These variations cannot be passed from one generation to another, and hence it is called as non-heritable variations. So, if it is very clear that hereditary variations can be transferred from parents to offspring, whereas environmental variations cannot be transferred from parents to offspring, because environmental changes can bring some changes in the individual, but those changes cannot be transferred from one generation to another. Clear? Next, continuous and discontinuous variations. The type of variations in which individuals can be arranged in an ascending order of gradation with respect to a particular characteristic. For example, height is known as continuous variation. For instance, on measuring the height of all the students in your class or in the school, we can see that in particular class it is better. We will find that the whole range of heights from small to tall, but majority of them may be of average height. This shows that height is a continuous variation. Similarly, weight, skin color, intelligence in humans, etc., or the production of milk, meat, egg, etc. in animals are some of the examples of continuous variations. Is it clear? The next, discontinuous variations. The type of variation in which there is no gradation between the distinct features is known as discontinuous variation. For example, the shape of seeds of a pea plant. We will be learning in the next class. Some of the seeds in pea plants are round, whereas some are wrinkled. We don't have a gradation in their size or in their shape. The color of the coat in guinea pigs, black or white, are some of the examples of discontinuous variations, as the individual seeds of a pea plant are either round or wrinkled. You don't see any gradation in the shape or size of the seed. Similarly, as I told you, the guinea pigs are either white or black. We don't have a gradation of colors. So this is an example for discontinuous variation. So these are the two types of variation that you usually see in individuals. First one is hereditary variation and environmental variation. Second, continuous and discontinuous variations. Next, let us see what are the causes of variations. How are variations caused? We have already learned that sexual reproduction gives rise to more variation when compared to asexual reproduction. But whatever it is, in asexual reproduction also variations can occur. So what are the causes of variations? The first cause is reshuffling of genes during meiosis. You have already learned in the previous class and also in this class, the last chapter, that meiotic division takes place at the time of gamete formation. In reproduction lesson, I have taught you that gametes are formed after or as a result of meiotic division or reduction division. So during this division, there is a reshuffling of genes. You will be learning in the next class, in 11th standard, cell division. You have not learned detailed, you have not studied detailed mitosis and meiosis, the two types of cell division. So during meiosis, there is reshuffling of genes and as a result, variations are formed. And you know, after meiosis, gametes are formed. These gametes only will fuse during fertilization and results in the formation of zygote. Zygote gradually develops into an individual, an organism. So this will lead to variation because there is a mixing up of genes or chromosomes from both the parents. Second reason or second cause of variation is errors in DNA copying. DNA copying is exact copy of the original one, but at times small errors, small mistakes can occur. These errors can also lead to variation. Third cause is environmental cause. Environment also play a role, an important role in causing variations. Hope these 3 points are clear, causes of variations. Next, some more important terms are chromosome. These terms are familiar, chromosome, genes, all these are familiar to you. Still, we can once again recall it. What is a chromosome? It is a thread-like structure or fiber-like structure present inside the nucleus of a cell formed of DNA that carries genes. Shall I ask you one question now? What is chromatin? Are chromatin and chromosomes same? Never. Chromatins are entangled thread-like structure present inside the nucleus. Chromosomes are distinct thread-like or fiber-like structures seen in the cell at the time of cell division. And these chromosomes will have segments of DNA which are called as genes. That is why it is said formed by DNA that carries genes. Then what are genes? Genes are segments of DNA that codes for a protein. DNA is the information source of protein. You will be learning in the next topic. Next, these terms are very much essential for understanding the next topic or the next class topic, that is Mendel's experiments. We will be learning the laws put forward by Mendel. So to understand the experiment and the laws, these terms are very much important. What is genotype? These terms are new to you. That is why I thought of introducing the terms first and then going to the chapter. Okay, what is genotype? It refers to the genetic makeup of an organism. It is always represented by a pair of letters. Mendel, while explaining his experiments, he uses many symbols. The letters are used. He uses capital letters to denote dominant character and small letters to denote recessive character. These terms, dominant and recessive, we will come across in the next class. So, genotype refers to the genetic makeup of an organism. Genotype of a tall plant, we represent it as capital T or capital T small t. And for a dwarf plant or a short plant, it is represented as small t. So when we do the Mendel's experiment, we do the crossing, we will represent the tall plant by using capital letters, that is capital T, or we can represent by capital T, small t. Accordingly, you will be knowing it when I explain that cross, monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. Now you just understand what is genotype. It is a genetic makeup of organism, and it is usually represented by using letters. We will use capital letters or small letters. Next, what is phenotype? Phenotype refers to the physical or external appearance of an organism. That is, when you look at a plant, we can understand whether the plant is tall or dwarf. We can understand whether the flower is white color or violet color. So whatever we see from outside, the external appearance is called as phenotype. The genetic makeup is called genotype. Hope you have understood it. So phenotype is the external appearance of an organism. It is visible trait of an organism. For example, the length of a plant or the height of a plant. That is, it can be either tall or dwarf. Since that height is visible, we call it as phenotype. The previous one, genotype, I had told you the tallness can be represented by capital T or capital T small t. But by seeing the plant from outside, can we understand whether the genes are capital T or small t? No. Only when we learn the genetic makeup, we can understand whether they have two capital T's or one capital T and small t. We represent the tallness or dwarfness by using the alphabet. So with that, some of the important terms I have introduced this week. Your main work for this week is to read the chapter, first half of the chapter, that is Heredity, minimum 2 times. Once again I repeat, I have only introduced the chapter and I have explained the new terms that is coming in this chapter. Please read the first half of the chapter and be familiar with all the terms once again. Next class, I will be explaining the monohybrid cross and the dihybrid cross, and through these crosses, we will be learning the 3 laws put forward by Mental. That is law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. So read the chapter and do the exercise in the text. Thank you.